The first time I noticed something was wrong, I brushed it off. Emily had forgotten to kiss me goodbye. It was a small thing, really. She'd been rushing out the door, her heels clicking sharply against the hardwood, her laptop bag slung over one shoulder. The girls, Mia, 8, and Lily, 6, were still upstairs, half-dressed and squabbling over a hairbrush. I stood in the kitchen, scrambling eggs, when I heard the garage door groan open. "Em?" I called out, spatula in hand. "You're leaving already?" No answer, just the sound of her car engine sputtering to life. I jogged to the front window, saw her silver Lexus backing down the driveway. Her face was tilted toward the passenger seat, lit by the glow of her phone. She was smiling. Not the distracted, polite smile she'd given me earlier that morning. A real one, the kind that crinkled her eyes. She didn't say goodbye. I stood there, eggs burning behind me, until Mia's voice cut through the smoke alarm. "Daddy! Lily's hogging the glitter clips again!" 3 nights later, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Emily's side of the bed was cold. She'd come home at 10:30 p.m., smelling of jasmine perfume and something sharper. Gin, maybe. "Client dinner," she'd mumbled, slipping into the bathroom. I waited, listened to the shower run. Then, quietly, I reached for her purse. Her phone was buried under a tangle of receipts and lipstick tubes. Mia's birthday, 0507, unlocked it. My throat tightened as I opened her messages. Deleted. All of them. The last thread was from Sarah, sent 3 days prior. "Thanks for the wine. Let's talk soon." But Emily had told me she'd been at Sarah's apartment that night. "She's a wreck since the divorce," she'd said. "Needed someone to cry to." I clicked on Google Maps. Her location history loaded. A timeline of lies. October 12th, the Willow Hotel, downtown. October 15th, La Mer Seafood, 45 minutes north. October 18th, Sarah's neighborhood. At 1 a.m. a floorboard creaked. I shoved the phone back, heart pounding. Emily stood in the doorway, her hair dripping onto her robe. "Jake? What are you doing?" Couldn't sleep. I forced a smile. Thinking about the girls' recital. "Tomorrow." She didn't smile back. "You're acting paranoid," she said the next morning, slamming her coffee mug on the counter. "Paranoid?" I kept my voice low, aware of the girls giggling over cartoons in the next room. "You're gone half the night, Em. You won't even look at me." She turned, her eyes red-rimmed. "You think this is easy? Balancing work, the kids, your expectations?" "My expectations?" I laughed bitterly. "I expect you to come home. To be here. Mia asked me yesterday why Mommy's always too busy for bedtime stories." Emily flinched. For a second I thought she'd cave, apologize. Instead she grabbed her keys. "I need air." The garage door slammed. I stood there, hollow, until Mia tugged my sleeve. "Daddy, can we make pancakes?" Mark's hand was on Sarah's waist. His brother's hand. The same hand that had clapped Jake on the back at their father's funeral 2 years ago, steadying him as he'd choked out a eulogy. The same hand that had held Mia as a newborn, pink and squalling, while Emily slept off the epidural. Now it slid possessively down Sarah's hip as she laughed at something he whispered. Jake's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. He'd parked 3 cars down in Sarah's apartment complex, the engine off, half hidden by a dumpster. The rational part of his brain screamed at him to leave. "This isn't your business. Sarah's separated. Mark's divorced. Let it go." But the other part, the part that had been chewing on Emily's lies like shards of glass, leaned closer. Sarah kissed Mark. Not a peck. A hungry, lingering kiss that made Jake's stomach turn. Then they walked inside, arms tangled. His phone buzzed. A text from Emily. "Working late again. Don't wait up." He didn't reply. The locked drawer. 2 days later, Jake stood in Sarah's apartment. She'd left for work. He knew because he'd sat outside her building since 6 a.m., nursing burnt gas station coffee, watching her leave in a hurry. Phone pressed to her ear, heels snagging on the sidewalk. The spare key was under, the frog-shaped garden stone, just like it had been when Sarah was married. Jake's hand shook as he turned it in the lock. The apartment smelled like vanilla and cigarettes. Sarah's divorce had left her with a studio cluttered with IKEA furniture and half-unpacked boxes. Jake went straight to the desk. The top drawer was locked. He'd brought a screwdriver. Inside, a stack of letters, a burner phone, and a pregnancy test. Positive. The phone lit up with a notification. One new voicemail. He pressed play. "Hey, it's me. Look, we need to talk about the money. Jake's getting too close. If he finds out about the—" Emily's voice. The room tilted. Jake gripped the desk. Thanksgiving 2021. "Since when do you care about politics, Mark?" Emily's laugh was sharp, brittle. She'd had too much Chardonnay. Mark leaned back in his chair, smirking. "Since your boss started donating to that PAC." "What's his name? Carl? The guy who mentors you after hours?" Jake frowned. "Mark, drop it." Sarah stood abruptly, her wine sloshing. "Anyone need more pie?" Later, in the kitchen, Jake overheard them. "You're playing a dangerous game," Sarah hissed. "Relax," Mark said. "They're clueless." Jake had assumed they were arguing about the election. Now, he wasn't so sure. The Pikerin met him at a diner off Route 9. She slid into the booth, her blonde ponytail frayed, sunglasses hiding puffy eyes. "You were right," she said. "Emily's been lying." Jake's coffee went cold. "About what?" "Everything. The spa weekend? She was at a motel near the airport, and the client dinners—" Karen hesitated. "There are no clients, Jake. She took a leave of absence from work 6 weeks ago." The diner's fluorescents buzzed like wasps. "Why?" he whispered. Karen handed him a business card. "Martin Vega, private investigator. You need to see this." Confronting Mark, Jake cornered him at the gym. Mark was mid-bench press, sweat soaking his shirt. "The hell, Jake, I'm in the zone." "You're sleeping with Sarah." Mark froze. The barbell clanged as he racked it. "What?" "Don't." Jake's voice cracked. "I saw you. At her place." Mark stood, toweling off. "Sarah's lonely. Her divorce wrecked her. It's not serious." "Not serious? You're my brother." "And Emily's your wife," Mark snapped. "You really want to do this? Fine. Ask her where she was last Tuesday. Ask her about the $15,000 missing from your savings account. Ask her why she's been meeting my lawyer." Jake's fist connected before he could stop himself. The voicemail back in Sarah's apartment. Jake replayed the voicemail. "If he finds out about the baby, we're screwed. Carl says we need to move the timeline. Meet me tonight, usual place." "Baby. Emily's baby?" His phone rang. Blocked number. "Jake? It's Martin Vega. You need to come to my office. Now. I found your wife." Martin Vega's office smelled like cigarettes and regret. Jake sat across from him, staring at the folder on the desk. The PI, a wiry man with a scar cutting through his eyebrow, tapped it with a nicotine-stained finger. "Your wife," he said, "isn't just cheating. She's stealing." The folder held photos. Emily in a dimly lit parking garage, handing a USB drive to a man in a trench coat. Emily at a bank, signing papers with a balding man Jake recognized. Carl Hartman, her boss. "That's not possible," Jake said. "Carl retired last year." "He faked his retirement," Martin said. "The company's under investigation for embezzlement. Your wife's been funneling money through shell accounts. The $15,000 missing from your savings? Pocket change. She's moved over $500,000. Jake's throat closed. $500,000. Emily's salary was $85K. "And the baby?" he managed. Martin slid another photo forward. Emily, 12 weeks pregnant, according to the sonogram in her hand. The date stamped on the image, October 3rd, 2 days before she'd claimed to be at Sarah's. The motel Jake drove to the usual place from Emily's voicemail, the Redwood Inn, a peeling stucco dump off the interstate. Room 214. He hid behind a rusted ice machine, watching. Emily arrived first, hood pulled low. Next, Carl, wheeling a suitcase. Then, Mark, his brother. They argued inside, voices muffled. Jake crept closer, phone recording. "Told you to fix this," Emily hissed. "It's not that simple," Carl said. "The auditors are crawling everywhere. We need to disappear." "And what about me?" Mark snapped. "I'm not raising some kid in hiding. You think I want this?" Emily's voice broke. "I did everything you asked. The money, the lies, even sleeping with you." Jake's knees buckled. He steadied himself against the wall. "Mark, the baby, was Mark's. The first lie, 6 months earlier. Emily had come home shaken, her blouse smudged with red wine. "Carl grabbed me at the holiday party," she whispered. "He said if I told anyone, he'd fire me. But then, he offered me a deal." Jake had held her, furious. "We'll sue. Expose him." No. She'd gripped his arms. "He'll ruin us. Just let me handle it." He'd trusted her. Now, he wondered if Carl wasn't the only predator in the room. The daughters Mia found the sonogram. She'd been searching for glue sticks in Jake's office drawer. Instead, she found the photo Martin had given him. "Is Mommy having a baby?" she asked at dinner, innocent. Emily dropped her fork. Lily clapped. "A sister. Can we name her Sparkle?" Jake stared at Emily. "We need to talk. Now." In the garage, she crumpled. "It's not what you think. Were you ever going to tell me?" "I tried," she cried. "But Mark threatened to take the girls. He said if I didn't help him and Carl move the money, he'd tell the court I'm an unfit mother. That I hurt them." Jake recoiled. "You're blaming Mark? He's not your brother, Jake." Her tears were steady now. "He's Carl's son. Twist." "The blood that night," Sarah called. "Jake, you need to come over. Now." He found her on the bathroom floor, clutching her stomach, blood streaking her thighs. "I lost the baby," she sobbed. "Mark's baby." Jake called 911. As they waited, she whispered, "He did this. He gave me pills, said it was antibiotics." "Why?" "Because," Carl found out, the baby was a loose end. Paramedics burst in. Sarah gripped Jake's hand. "Don't trust Martin. He works for Carl." The burned house. Jake returned home to sirens. His street was lit with flashing red lights. Firefighters hosed down the smoldering wreck of his house. A cop approached. "Mr. Tanner, your daughters are safe. A neighbor pulled them out. But we need to ask about the gas leak." Gas leak. The words rang hollow. Emily appeared, soot-streaked and shaking. "Where's Mia? Where's—" Jake grabbed her. "This wasn't an accident." She went still. "Carl burned down our house," he said. "No." She looked at him, broken. "I did. The fire had eaten everything." Jake stood in the hospital hallway, watching Mia and Lily sleep through the glass. Their faces were smudged with soot. Lily's arm bandaged where an ember had kissed her skin. The neighbor who'd saved them, Mrs. Ruiz, 82 years old and sharper than a scalpel, sat guard in a plastic chair, her handbag clutched like a weapon. "They asked for you," she said. "Before the sedation." "What did they say?" Mia told the nurse. "Daddy will fix it." He couldn't fix this. Emily sat in a separate room, handcuffed to the bed. The police had questions. So did Jake. He walked in holding the sonogram photo. "Start talking," he said. "Or I walk out that door and let Carl's people finish what they started." Emily's confession. She stared at the ceiling. "Carl's my father." Jake froze. "Not biologically," she said. "But he shaped me. I was 22, interning at his firm. He said I had a talent for bending rules. He paid off my student loans, bought me the Lexus, even introduced me to you." "What? You think we met by accident?" She laughed bitterly. "Carl wanted me married to someone loyal, gullible, someone he could control through you." Jake's wedding ring felt like a shackle. "Mark was Carl's protege first," she said. "His real son. But when Mark got greedy, Carl needed a new puppet, so he dangled me in front of him. Let Mark think the affair was his idea. Let him get me pregnant. And the fire?" Her voice broke. "Carl ordered it. Said if I didn't burn the house, he'd take the girls. Permanently." The safe deposit box Jake broke into Carl's office. The PI, Martin, had given him a key. "Third drawer, left side. You'll know what to do." Inside was a file labeled Project Gemini. Photos of Emily and Mark, years before Jake had met her. Vacationing in Bali. Sharing a bed in a Swiss chalet. A contract signed by Carl. $500,000 upon successful conception of a child. A USB drive taped to the back held audio files. Carl's voice. "The Tanner girls are the backup. If Emily fails, we'll leverage custody. Mark. And if Jake fights? Carl. We'll bury him, literally. The first meeting. Jake, 28, nervous in a too-tight suit, sipping bad wine at a corporate mixer. Emily, radiant in emerald green, accidentally spilling Merlot on his shirt. "Let me make it up to you," she'd said. Dinner? He'd said yes. He never asked why a woman like her would choose a man like him. Now he knew. The gun Jake. Found it taped under the motel bed. A Glock 19, loaded, serial number filed off. With it, a note. "For when you're ready. M. Martin." He'd texted Jake an address. 454, Pine Road. Midnight. The house was Carl's. Jake parked a mile away, hiking, through icy woods. The windows glowed. Inside, Carl poured scotch, laughing with Mark. Emily's voice carried from a speakerphone. "I did everything you asked. Let me see my girls." Carl smirked. "You'll see them in hell." Jake cocked the gun. The choice A. Hand clamped over his mouth. "Don't. Martin. They're expecting you," he whispered. "It's a trap." Behind them, twigs snapped. Flashlights cut through the dark. "Run," Martin said. "Or your daughters die tonight." The flashlight beams cut through the trees like prison searchlights. Jake's pulse hammered in his throat as Martin shoved him behind a thick oak. "They have snipers," Martin hissed. "Move and you're dead." Carl's voice boomed from the house. "Jake, come out, come out. Let's talk about your daughters." A phone buzzed in Martin's pocket. He glanced at it, jaw tightening. "They're at the hospital, Carl's men. We have 5 minutes before they grab Mia and Lily." Jake's vision tunneled. "No, no, no." Martin pressed the gun back into his hand. "Here's the choice. You go in there and kill Carl, or I do. But if I do, you'll never see your girls again. They'll disappear into Carl's network. You know what that means." Jake did. He'd read the files. Little girls with no names, shipped overseas to men who paid Carl's prices. He stepped out from behind the tree. The confrontation. Carl's living room was a museum of cruelty. Taxidermied heads lined the walls. Deer, bears, a lion. Mark sat on the leather couch, smirking, a glass of bourbon in hand. Carl stood by the fireplace, Emily kneeling at his feet, her wrists bound. "Jake," Emily sobbed. "They took the girls." "Liar," Carl chuckled. He yanked her hair, forcing her to look up. "Tell him the truth," Emily's voice shattered. "I tried to stop it, I swear, but they're gone. They're already gone." Jake's finger twitched on the trigger. Mark stood, rolling his sleeves. "You always were slow, little brother. Did you really think Emily loved you? That any of this was real?" Jake's voice was ice. "I know she's your sister." Mark froze. Carl laughed. "Oh, this is rich. You didn't even tell him, Emily?" Emily closed her eyes. "Jake, Mark isn't just your brother. He's mine, too. The bloodline." The room spun. "Carl raised us," Mark said. "Our mother was his housekeeper. When she died, he kept us, trained us. Emily was always the favorite." Jake's stomach turned. "You're siblings." Emily's tears cut through the dirt on her face. "I didn't know until I was 18. By then it was too late. Carl owned me." Carl patted her cheek. "And now I own your daughters." Jake pulled the trigger. The bullet tore through Carl's shoulder. He staggered back. Roaring, Mark lunged. Jake fired again, missed. Mark tackled him. They crashed through the glass coffee table, shards slicing skin. "Somewhere!" Emily screamed. Martin burst in, gun raised. Bang! Mark's body jerked. He collapsed, blood pooling from his chest. Carl was gone. The escape. The safe house stank of mildew and desperation. Martin had dragged them there. Jake, Emily, and the girls, who'd been smuggled out by Mrs. Ruiz just before Carl's men arrived. Mia clung to Jake, silent. Lily hadn't stopped crying. Emily sat in the corner, hollow-eyed. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Jake didn't look at her. Martin tossed a burner phone on the table. "Carl's alive. He'll come for you. You have one shot at survival." "How?" "The affidavit. Sarah hid it in her medical records. It proves Carl's trafficking, the money laundering, everything. Get it to the FBI before he does. Jake exhaled. And then, Martin met his gaze. Then you disappear. All of you. Forever. The last goodbye. The hospital parking garage was a death trap. Jake moved fast. Emily beside him, both armed. Sarah's room was guarded. They took out the first man silently. The second saw them coming. Gunfire echoed. Emily took a bullet to the leg. Jake dragged her into the stairwell. Go, she gasped. Get the file. Save our girls. He hesitated. She kissed. Him, bloody and broken. I loved you. That part was real. Then she shoved him toward the stairs and turned back, gun raised, to hold them off. The end. Or the beginning. Jake ran. The affidavit burned in his pocket. Mia and Lily waited in a van outside, Martin at the wheel. Somewhere behind them, sirens wailed. Somewhere ahead, a new life, or a new nightmare, waited. What would you have done? Could you walk away from your past to save your future? Would you have pulled the trigger? Thank you for joining Jake's journey. This is the end. Or is it? Follow for exclusive alternate endings. And remember, some secrets are better left buried.